And just like you said, the truth hurts, and it does hurt.
Yep.
It's just like a light socket. Let's metaphor. Let's say that light socket. Let's say that's the truth. And it's a but the thing is, we got to put our pride, ego, and our fear to the side. Metaphorically, I'm not saying do it physically, and touch that damn light socket and say, give me the effing truth, and
Right.
stand up. You know what I mean? We
Right.
got to face adversities. We got to face everything that's thrown at us by the one percenters and everything, and the pharmaceuticals industry, the brainwashed media, the mind control media, MK Ultra media, and we got to stand up, unite, and fight back against the system. Because just like I hear my baby in there, she's playing. I'm afraid for her future. It almost.
And you should be. You absolutely should be. You know that I subscribe to Dish television.
It kind of chokes me up, because
yeah,
what's her future gonna be like? You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Like
that's a serious thing, really. What she's got to look forward to, what she's coming into, and it's all left in the hands of humanity. We are passing on to our sons and daughters the things that we messed up, and that's a rough one. We're not leaving them much to work with.
So, with my child in there, how do you see in other people's children? Because I don't care about me or my future. I care about her future, other people's children's future.
You must, Michael. You must care about your future.
Well,
you must care about you and your wife, because
I don't care what happens to me, I guess.
Well, if you don't take care of yourself and your wife, then there will be no future at all for your child.
Do you want to help support Beyond Forbidden and receive extra content that's not seen anywhere else? By becoming a patron, a few things you will receive are the full-length 90-minute or 120-minute podcast episode. Members will also receive a private link to the video podcast and will only be exclusive to Patreon members. In-person, face-to-face interviews with some of the most well-known, respected researchers. Behind-the-scenes footage of interviews not seen anywhere else. And that's just a few perks. So what do you have to lose? Cut out one brain-rotting, overly processed Happy Meal a month that doesn't do anything beneficial for your mind, body, and spirit, and become a Patreon for just $5.
Mr. Dale Harder, welcome back to the show, man. It's been a long time. No, just kidding. It's been about a week or two. So welcome back to the show.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. Welcome. Thanks. I'm happy to be back with you.
So during the pre-show, you brought up things that Hollywood and the television and things, how they throw truth in film and movies, cartoons, and everything else. I don't know if you're a fan of Stargate SG-1.
Oh yeah, seen them all.
Oh, I love it's my but other than the X-Files is my favorite, but a hot number 2 is Stargate SG-1. I love it. And the number 3 is probably Supernatural. Okay. But Supernatural is a really good show. But with Stargate SG-1, I don't know if you remember at the end credits of Stargate SG-1, we gratefully acknowledge the cooperation of the Department of Defense, Department of the Air Force, and the U.S. Space Command.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they use a lot of the actual pictures, the entrance to Cheyenne Mountain and all the different things.
Is it just that, though? Is it just that? Or are they getting insights, too, about certain things? Because some of those SG-1 shows, yes, I know a lot of it's out there. It's but some of that stuff could be a little bit of facts mixed with fiction.
Absolutely, that's done constantly in Hollywood.
Why do they do that?
People need to be aware. People need to be aware, and in order for the regressives or the cabal or the various ones that are steering, if you will, the outcome of where humanity is going, they don't control it, but they are definitely using loopholes to steer where they want to go. And so in order to avoid any kind of karmic retroaction on them, what they do is use these loopholes, and they must tell humanity what they're doing. in order to avoid any of those possibilities. So what they do is they put all of this stuff in movies, in cartoons, in literature, on TV shows, and they throw it out there. And if you're awake, you go, wait a minute, I've heard that somewhere. Oh, hey, this makes sense. But most people, it just kind of blows over their shoulders like a water and a duck. And it's unfortunate, but the truth is there. Now, if I may be so bold, I call it a turd sandwich. Okay, because you got two pieces of crap and you have to gnaw your way through that to get to the tiny nougat of truth in the center of everything. But that's the way it's done. And so, we mentioned a couple of shows, that ones that you just mentioned, which were great shows. And I told you about Futurama also, because they really put a lot of stuff in there, including Roswell and everything you can think of. But the answers and the truth are there. So you just got to dig them up.
And because I do a lot of other all types of interview or genres, I guess, conspiracies, the paranormal, ancient mysteries, the occult. And one thing that I've come across over the years, having guests on and doing my own research, is that the elite, the ones that are pulling the strings behind the scenes, that they are, just like you said, they're throwing things out there because they do believe in things, and they believe in karma. They believe in like a cosmic karma.
Yes.
And one way of how they evade this cosmic karma that can bite them in the ass is to throw a little bit of facts within fiction, within films, and see, we told you. Because
precisely, that's exactly what
they don't
doing.
expect people like me, you, and people that are listening to this to decipher and decode what's actually going on in film,
Right.
But it's crazy. And just like on this kind of little off topic, but the Bohemian Grove in California, the sign says weaving spiders come not here. See, they're full of these cryptic messages. And I've heard different depictions of that, what the weaving spiders come not here actually mean. What do you think that means? Because I've heard many different things. I really don't know. It's got the owl and it's got weaving spiders come not here. What do you think that means with give your best philosophy on that?
I wouldn't say that I'm the person that knows that much about that. I mean, I'm aware of it in Bohemian Grove and so forth. Even Werner von Braun was connected with them. And what it is basically part of the secret society and a whole not thing. But when you're looking at the owl, you're looking at knowledge. When you're looking at the weaving spiders, it's the web that we weave and the knowledge that's at the nexus or the center points where those webs cross. So it's got something to do with that. If I may be so bold, this is my opinion. But do I truly know what they're actually doing? Only the people that are in those societies know what that means. But I suspect that that's something along those lines.
For that to not be. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
For example, we're talking about magic, all right? And people just love Harry Potter, including me. I think it's a really great series. Okay. Yep. Now, Harry Potter and the magic and so forth, what do they use? They use a wand, right? And they cast their spells with the wand. If you ever thought about this, what is that wand made of?
The holly tree.
Right. So when you say that, it's Hollywood.
Yep.
Hollywood.
Casting
Hollywood
spells,
is where the magic comes from. Okay. And that's how it works. So the magic is woven in everything that we see and do every day. All right. Because the way people look at us and and ETs and so forth, and my family and the things that we have and can do, our technology is so much in advance of humanity that it seems like magic to them. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's sufficiently advanced technology, but are we that much different as beings? Not truly that much different. A little more advanced, a little more capable in the way we operate, the way we work, the way we treat one another, and our understanding of our races, but not that much different physically. So everything tends to look like magic. And that's why it all goes back to Hollywood and all the magic is around us. So you just have to look at the magic that's happening every day around you. And it's in everything. So you got to pull that out.
Why do you think that? And a lot of times, I love having these. It's almost like a free form, freestyle, because most of my interviews, man, I got notes out the butt, but I do have some talking points, that will carry over from last discussion. But why do you think that they use magic and use this sorcery, with your knowledge with ETs and everything else that also that you have researched over the years, and with you being um a hybrid and a contactee and with experiencer?
Literally an extraterrestrial. Yeah,
So
I am.
and then along with your research, what have you gathered either from them or from your research of what the elite, well, what are they doing here? Because it's almost like they are trying to tap into the cosmic trickster chessboard, whatever. You know
Well,
what I mean?
what they do is more based on society. It's more based on cults and what I want to say, mysticism, if you will. It's based upon the performance of ritual,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And rituals and everything for the cabal are prime, okay? So if you're looking at us being locked up here in our third density matrix on a 5D planet, all right, you've got the cabal, you've got the elite, you've got the regressives that are basically on the top of that food chain. They're in the fourth density. Now they can ascend at any time and go to 5 and above, but they don't want to. They like being where they're at. All right, that comes back to Dante, the saying of we'd rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. Okay, they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to move on. They're happy being where they're at, controlling everything here, or at least using us to control it. We give them the right to control us. We allow them to do this to ourselves because we don't wake up, we don't look at what's going on. So they use all these rituals and secret societies and things to accomplish this. And so, in my opinion, it is the fourth density level where they like to do all this kind of stuff. When you get to the fifth density level and higher, or higher frequency, in a density level is not actually, it's not accurate, but it's the best way I have to describe it right now. All right. So it's like going from ice to water to steam. Each one is a higher frequency. Same thing, but it's still the same material. So when you get to where my family is, where we are in the fifth and above, things become much more apparent. Things are much more open and transparent, and it's all frequency based. It's all energy based. So what we do with our technology and so forth may seem like magic to most people, but it's really not. It's just the application of principles and science and knowledge that people haven't yet discovered here. And yet, that stuff, if you look around you and look at the remains of all of these megalithic cities and structures and things, there were societies and there were beings and races on this planet at one time that did have capabilities above and beyond what humanity has at this point in time. Because there's no way in hell they could go to build the structures that they did, like the pyramids and the Greek temples and all the famous places with stone knives and bear skins. I will argue that to the end degree. Okay. And I asked the question then, fine, if they did do it that way, how did they do it? And most of the ways that they say it has been done, they've tried or experimented with, and they don't work. They can't be done. So there are definitely techniques that they knew, and that is nothing more again than an application of technology or science or knowledge. So mysticism is on one hand, science and technology is on the other, and they both actually combine. They're not really that separate. So you can use the ritual and the mysticism to invoke the science and the technology. We prefer to stay more on the science side of things, and we're straight up. We tell people, this is it. This is what we do. This is how we do. These other things, these rituals are very secretive, if you will. They're done in the dark. And so you've got one side or the other. You make a choice, But since I'm from the fifth and above, we
What's
choose
the
to do
difference
things.
between the density and because we talked a little bit about it last time, and
Yes.
me going through the interview and editing and things like that with adding an intro and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
I forgot to ask you. I don't think I asked you. What's the difference between density and dimension? Because
Okay.
I think you said that it's not the same, but we didn't really go down that road.
Right. Right. All right. Let me try and clarify as best as
I
I can.
I still want to stay a little bit on what we're talking about because this will
Yes.
kind of lead into something else with frequencies and also the fourth dimension and the elites. So we'll kind of go around
We
Harvey's
can circle
barn.
around to it,
Yeah,
if you
we'll
want to
go
come
around
back.
Harvey's
No
barn.
problem. Yeah. No problem at all.
But
So,
yeah, just go ahead and explain that because I was like, why didn't I ask him that? Because I'm sure there's people that's gonna be listening. And what's the difference? A lot of people that they just know dimensions. You know, a lot of
okay.
people don't hear density too much.
Everybody thinks of the universe the way that the physics teachers and our science has taught us here is that everything is either dimensional, first dimension, second dimension, third dimension, and fourth dimension being time. So you've got a set of coordinates and you've got a time coordinate, blah, blah, blah. But the universe and the mathematics behind it says, well, we can have a lot more dimensions than that. The problem is that we can't get in or out of those dimensions at this point in time. All right. So we're still trying to figure out how to do that. While you're talking about density, what we're really trying to say is frequency, because the entire universe, everything in it, every molecule, every atom, every point, every place, doesn't matter, exists of two capabilities. It's either it's energy and it is frequency. The higher the frequency of the energy, the more levels or the higher etheric levels you're getting into. You're not moving in and out of dimensions, you're moving into frequency. So, explaining that again with the water analogy, we're down here, we're the fish under the frozen water. We're looking up through the frozen water, and then we've got water, okay, which is same thing. It's not frozen, but it's in another density. And then when you get above water, you turn it into steam. Well, the only thing different between those three is the frequency at which the molecules or atoms are vibrating. All right. There's the frequency. There's the increase in the ether. That's what we mean when we're saying density. And that term got started actually, and it was kind of a misnomer. Even my family said, no, it's not really right. But sometimes we don't have an easy way to explain these things to humanity. And we have to put them in terms that are more recognizable or easy to assume. All right. So it's all about frequency. It's all about energy. And all it is you're either at a lower level of frequency or you're at a higher level of frequency. People say, well, how can we get a higher frequency? All we do is think about it and live it. All right. If you want to live in a higher frequency, you start making affirmations and reaffirmations of I am a good person, I am a higher being, I have love for my fellow man and woman, and you start living with the higher frequencies. As you practice that, you become higher and higher in frequency. Your body automatically raises itself.
Can certain
So when you
actions raise your frequencies?
yes,
Like I love gardening. I love taking walks in nature. You know,
absolutely. You are at one with your surroundings and nature. You open up, you begin to feel those energies. You can feel the earth, you can feel the plants and animals and things. And people say, oh, you're nuts. They all have a spirit, they all have a personality, they are all alive.
I love planting seeds in my garden and just watch them grow and develop fruit or vegetables. You know,
Exactly, exactly. And that is a process of moving through the density. That seed is going from its benign state into an expanded state, kind of like the so-called Big Bang, which never really happened. But that's the only way they have to kind of explain it because they're missing information. They don't know what lies above steam. Okay. When they start getting more educated, as it were, when they become more knowledgeable, when they've had more experience, like our people have, in 500,000 or 1,000,000 years, they'll understand the next levels. But we are constantly moving in and out of a frequency range. All right. You might be a very loving and gentle person. You might have great feelings toward others. But say you go out to work today or yesterday and you had a really bad day, that lowers your frequency. That takes energy away from you.
Or being in traffic or on social media
Exactly.
or in Walmart.
Exactly.
My frequency it drops.
Right. And it's because of your surroundings and the way people are acting around you or things like that. And that sucks energy away from you. And that brings your frequency down. And that's where people start getting into trouble because they want to lash out at this one or that one, or they want to have road rage, or, you're just shoulder to shoulder deep in the Walmart standing in line and stupid things are happening. I understand completely. But that is also the reason we're trapped right here in this level. Okay, and the cabal goes, oh, this is great. The more we can make this happen, the worse we make it, and the less the frequency of the humanity. Okay, they don't want us to get smart. They don't want us to raise our frequency. We will surpass them, and they can't control it. So they keep it down. They keep it low. Everything around us, we emphasize the negativity, not the positivity. You think that that's foolish, but but you can prove it to yourself because you can go to any newspaper, you can go to any radio station, any TV station, you can look at any news channel, anything whatsoever that is imparting information, and 99% of it will be of a negative nature.
So with frequencies, well, back to the like in traffic and things like that, I try hard. I know I'm human. I'm not an ET.
Yeah.
At least not that I know of, but I try. Like let's say, and I'm getting better the older I get. I'm getting better.
Comes with experience, right?
Yes, it does. Just like that. Just like when I plant, when it starts out off of the seed, it grows. It's very vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like it takes a lot of time and until you grow, and I don't know. I see the metaphor in my head because I'm out there all the time. And
sure.
But anyways, I'll be out on the road and I'll be meditating and just thanking the universe, whatever, and just trying to stay calm and positive and everything. And then somebody does something stupid and I'll be literally I'll be literally meditating and somebody does something stupid. What the, like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
It's like it's almost like boom, that switch just got turned off. I'm like, man. And then I'll just laugh like I have nothing else to do but to laugh at myself because I was like in the state of zen almost. And then somebody just triggered me just like that. I'm like, at least I recognize my problem and I'm trying to fix that,
Right.
But with the frequencies, the cabal, deep state, the Illuminati, the elite, whatever name you want to call these figureheads,
I just call them the regressives.
They create this artificial reality prison that we live in, and they use things against us, and frequencies is one of them. Because whenever you're talking, I just pulled up because the music frequency used to be 432, and now music frequency is tuned at 440 hertz. And also with the church bells, back in churches don't hardly have any bells anymore.
Yeah.
Or the town square or in town back in the day, of course, just reading history, I didn't live back then. Certain towns would chime bells because they would resonate a certain frequency.
Exactly.
But they got rid of all the bells and they're screwing with the music and changing it from 432 to 440. And I feel like there's something deeper underlying level here that the ones on the top of the pyramid, they know this with the frequencies and are trying to keep us in a lower vibrational state to, I guess, part of my control, keep us in a lower vibrational state because we're more easily controlled, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. We're just like cattle. We're being herded. And of course, cattle have life. They have intelligence. They have spirit. They are living beings and they respond to gentleness and kindness as well as to negativity. So, I can tell people that, being raised on a farm and stuff, if you've never looked into the eyes of a cow, those are some of the most beautiful and gentle eyes you will ever see. Okay. But, people kill them. We eat them. We do all kinds of horrible things to them. The same we do with the whales and stuff like that. Again, if you had time or if you had the experience to stare into the eyes of one of these beings, you realize that they're far more than what they appear. So everything is about the frequency, and it's up to us to constantly live with the thought, I am a higher being. I will keep my frequency high no matter what happens, because challenges are for everyone every single day. We grow through challenge. All right. Now, sometimes I really dislike the challenges that are thrown at me. I didn't come here to deal with those. I came here to serve. But I also have to keep myself as high as I possibly can, too, to keep that in mind, to keep that goal ahead of me. And I've faced some very serious challenges in the last year. And it's only 7 months into the year already. But, everybody gets this. And there are times when I truly feel, in fact, I told somebody this morning during a friends and discussion. I said, there are times when I feel like the universe or the cabal or whatever, it's definitely after me. And they're hitting me with enormous numbers of challenges in order to keep me busy so that I can't get back to what I'm here to do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's deal with this, deal with that, this medical, that medical, my wife, the car, the house, constant. And the more you deal with it, the more it comes. And it's like, you've got to stop the whole thing, say, enough is enough. I'm going to just deal with this, and remind yourself it's just a challenge, and it's not important. It really doesn't matter. You don't own anything. You just borrow stuff for a while. So things and materials are irrelevant.
Exactly.
The only thing you need to worry about is your wife and your child, or your, the people you love, that kind of thing. That's the most important part.
And I feel you. And I know you've been around this artificial created reality that we live in, because I believe that it was artificially created with everything that you talked about, everything in existence.
It's a matrix, all right.
to create this bubble of control, and to where we're running around this hamster wheel, and just like I just lost my train of thought, but it was created to, like, the more we worry, it keeps us, of course, it keeps us in a lower vibrational state and more easily controlled, more in a lower vibrational state, and fear and all that.
Yep.
But the more we worry, or the more we let worry in, the more we push God or the creator out.
Right.
Or the source, whatever you want to call it.
Because what you concentrate on, Michael, is what you create.
And we create our own reality. That's something else
That's exactly what they're doing. They're allowing us to create our own reality. They're controlling us with that loophole. So as long as humanity is not awake and not realizing that they're creating the situation that they're in, and everybody out there I can hear them all yelling at me right now, oh, I didn't create the war in the Iran, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. But you're supporting it because you're actually reading about it, you're looking at it, you're putting your thoughts and your prayers into it, this, that, and the other thing. What we've got to do is simply say, I love those people, and send them as much love and energy as we can, and try and keep it on a positive side. All the people are saying, I hate Putin, I hate Russia, this and that. It's not just Putin, and the Russians are just beautiful people, been there many times, can tell you. They're people just like us. The only thing is that there's a couple of negatives going on over there, and they're driving the situation. So the more we pour energy into it, the worse it gets. If humanity finally got upset enough and said, I'm tired of this stuff, and took China and all the different countries, Russia and everything, and said, enough is enough, put these negative people in a room and let them beat the hell out of each other, that would be fine. But the rest of us, we don't think about doing that to our fellow man or person every day, or fellow woman. That's just not normal. We're driven in that direction. It's like driving a cattle herd from California to wherever for slaughter. Okay. And that's the way humanity is done every day. They drive us in the direction they want us. We've got to wake up and say, no, enough is enough. We're going to take back our sovereignty. We're going to do what we know is right. And there isn't a human being on the planet, I don't care who they are, that isn't born with a sense of right and wrong in their heart and their mind. That's part of being a being, period. That's part of the God source or the creative source. Every being in the universe has it. We know automatically right from wrong. Practice the right. Stop thinking about the wrong. I know, a lot easier said than done, but that's the simplicity of it boiled down into a little nutshell. Okay. Now humanity's got to stand up and say, wait a minute, we've got bad leaders here. We've got bad leaders there. We've got all these bad things going on. Maybe we should become proactive and not just sit back and wait for them to fix it for us, because they ain't going to do that. They're not going to fix it. They put it where it is. They want it where it is. It's up to you and me and the rest of us to educate each other and to help our fellow man and woman to reach that point where we could say, I've had enough. I don't like this thing about abortion. I don't like this thing in our schools. I don't like this thing for the country. Whatever it is, we need to straighten that out. We can, because it's supposed to be by the people and for the people, and it's not, never has been. Okay. Now, that's a tall order, but it could be accomplished if more people got on board with that. And that doesn't mean we have to be violent. It can be done with love and direction and concern. All right. Things like that on our planets do not exist. We lost that kind of stuff eons ago, but it can be done. And it is all simply a matter of mind. And mind and where you think is frequency. Okay. Everything is frequency. There isn't anything you can point to or think of on this planet, to the micro or to the macro, that isn't frequency.
It makes sense, because with us thinking, that's creating energy. Like our bodies require food, because food is calories and calories is energy and energy is frequency. But we need energy. That. Yes, I see that. But
it's all energy and it's all frequency.
With the co-creator,
if you take your piece of fruit or your apple or your tomato or whatever, and you're going to slice it or peel it or otherwise, some people go, well, they like to bless it. They like to give thanks for it. I do. And I look at it and I say, thank you for filling my body with the light of our sun and for giving yourself for my purpose, for my existence. What a small thank you. Is that a bad thing to do? I can't see that it could be, but that's a being that came into existence that is nurturing me. I should be and hope to be thankful and grateful for that. And that's not saying, oh, I'm religious and I'm God following and I'm following that has nothing to do with anything. It's simply showing gratitude in your daily life for the things that you have. Okay. Even the bad things that happen to us sometimes have a purpose. And one door closes, another door opens, the old cliche. It does happen. Happens to me all the time.
But we need the darkness. We need that. I feel like we need the trials and tribulations.
We got to grow through those.
Just like with darkness.
Right.
As above, so below, and you can kind of get occultic with that, but macrocosm, microcosm, but with darkness, just like we need it. Our bodies need darkness when we sleep. I know that's a metaphor. It's not technically malevolent darkness,
right.
But still, we need things like that. Things can't just be all sunshine and rainbows. And just like, I know it's a different kind of metaphor, but most people aren't going to sleep outside with the sun shining. Maybe a little cat nap, but
but even in the darkness,
our bodies
there is always light.
Our bodies need to create serotonin in the brain in the dark, but the thing is, you got to find the balance between the light and the dark. And I think that's where,
even when you think, you have to find the balance between light and dark. You can't go into the darkness of the night without light being present.
Right.
Because when you look up, it's full of stars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There is light all around us all the time.
The thing is, we're so out of balance.
Yeah.
We're more into the dark as a collective, as the human race, I would say. But not us, not us technically. It's just that we're being guided by the 1%,
That's exactly it. So, well, if somebody puts your head in a bucket, nobody says you have to keep your head in the bucket. You can take the bucket off unless they're holding it on top of you and beating the daylights out of you.
Some people are
And in
afraid to
some
take that
ways,
bucket
they
off,
are.
though. Some people are
In
afraid to
some
take
ways,
that
they
bucket
are.
off.
Yeah, because, well, all of a sudden I'm in the bucket, I'm in the dark. Hey, it's kind of comfortable this way. I don't have to see or do anything else.
Hence,
Isn't that
watching
like that?
TV, drinking a 6 pack, which
Yeah.
which is nice every now and then, but you can't
No
be in
matter
your
what,
comfort
when
zone.
you're done with the 6 pack, when you're done relaxing and watching the TV, the next day you got to go right back to work and starting the whole thing all over again.
That hamster
That's
wheel.
the
Yeah.
money, the Babylonian money magic system. That's the way we
Mhm.
live.
The
And we've
cosmic
been
sorcerers.
herded into that. Yeah, we've been herded into that.
So back to the co-creator thing. And just like you mentioned, it's like the Matrix, and I've had many discussions of what is this reality, and some people, Elon Musk, call it simulation. Um, Philip K. Dick also talked about how possibly be a simulation. Um, but I think that's just a metaphor for something much more grand. It's not like we're living in a video game. It's not like technically maybe like the Matrix movie, but with me saying that, our reality is bigger than what our eyes can perceive. We can only see so much of the visible light spectrum. And with that all being said, with the co-creator aspect that kind of connects to whatever this reality is, the reason why the the lamestream media, politics, the government, while they're creating so much confusion, division, madness, and everything else like that, they want a response from us. They know that they need our energy to create a response. But with
Right.
that being said, maybe nothing really will ever happen if we don't like bring it into existence. They need our emotions, our our fear, whatever it is, to create the energy source, to create that vision that they are displaying on the TV or whatever. Well, what I'm saying is nuclear war. All right, nuclear war. What if, with Russia and all that BS? What if none of that will ever happen? If we had a time capsule, go to whatever. Well, what if it never? What if it never would happen? But they know because they can't create. Maybe it's because of the what were we talking about? Karma. Maybe they need us to create it. The more we talk about it on social media, oh, it's going to be nuclear war. It's going to be this. It's going to be bad. We're creating this. We're creating this environment.
Yep.
That's why I brought up the Matrix and simulation, because I feel like the more we panic over certain things, it's almost like the cosmic trickster element within the Matrix or whatever manifest this into the reality, into existence. And the elite, the 1%ers, know this. That's why they create this division, this hatred, this fear, so that they get a reaction out of us to create the reality in the future that the 1%ers want. It's hard for me to put it down, but I see it in my head. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. And what you're talking about is like, let's use this little metaphor. You love growing plants and things and planting
Mm-hmm.
seeds and watching them grow.
Yeah.
All right, you're giving them water, you're giving them love, you're nurturing them, and they're responding to that in kind. Okay. Now, where you've got the control, the regressive, where you've got that kind of negative energy, it is also possible to conceive of, even if you can't believe it, that there are beings that subsist on negativity. Okay. They really live on negative energy. Now, when we eat food, what are we doing to that food? We're consuming it, we're assimilating it, and the energy or the frequency of the food that we eat then raises or lowers our body accordingly. So we need to eat good quality food. We need to stay away from pesticides. We need to stay away from all the things that are being put into the food to dumb down and control humanity. All right. So the regressives they live in a realm and in a way that they eat negative energy. It's food for them. So the more that they can terrorize humanity with all of this negative energy, these negative thoughts, those negative concepts, they don't need to create nuclear war, because if they create nuclear war, they destroy their food source. They kill humanity and wipe out the world. Then their food source is gone. So what they need to do is instill terror. They need to instill fear and negativity and drive that situation so that they have a prodigious food source. All right. And that's what they're doing. And then when you get beyond that fourth density level or frequency level and go higher, you no longer need the negative energy or don't use it. You've gotten into the higher frequencies in the higher realm, and those things then become much more clear. So, as I said, the regressives choose to stay where they are. They can change anytime they want to. They can go higher anytime. They can ascend, if you will, to a higher realm, but they don't want to because they enjoy where they are. But in order to stay where they are and to have the control, they have to generate that negative energy and terrorize humanity. So the last thing that they really truly want is for us to wipe ourselves out, because then they wouldn't have any source of food. So that would be like us going out and growing a cornfield and then torching the whole thing and burning it to the ground. So nobody gets fed. But that's what's going on. It's all frequency. Everything we do is frequency. This cup of coffee or whatever, when I take a sip of that, I'm converting it to energy. I'm converting it to a frequency. And in certain cases, it either lowers your body a frequency or it raises your body frequency. So it's all in how we look at that kind of stuff. And that's really where the thing is at, where it lies today, where humanity is sitting. So when we tell humanity, you need to wake up, you need to take control, that's what we're saying. We need you to see beyond the negative stuff and start looking at the beauty that is left. And there's still a lot of beauty in this planet, in this world. You look at the original cultures, the Indians and the Native Americans, they worshiped the earth, they worshiped the ground. They even gave thanks and prayers over animals that they killed to eat and to use as sources of making housing and things like that. Everything had its purpose, and there was always gratitude given in return. So we don't live that way. We just consume, and move on. And then when the resources are all gone, we moan and we groan and bitch, and then we're in worse shape. We've got to start learning to live within harmony, within balance. And that's up to us. But it's going to take the majority of us that are awake to help the others to wake up and say, this outside influence, this negativity that they're driving, we don't need this. I don't know too many people that thrive on happiness, as it were. They thrive on negative news. They thrive on all of that stuff that's given to us every single day. The minute you turn on the radio, you're on your way home from work or wherever. Well, Pakistan did this and Russia did that and China's doing this. They fill your head with negativity from the moment you wake up till the moment you go to sleep. And you live the cycle every day with you. And you don't see beyond that. This is what's really happening. And you're right. You've got it right. You know the truth in your own gut. Okay, you call it a gut feeling. That's okay with me. It doesn't matter how you look at it. The point is that this is what people have to come to understand. Hey, if we don't like the way the government is doing things, we need to change it. But we need to do it peacefully, lovingly. And we don't have to just hurl stones. That's worthless. There is a way to do it.
And yes, like you said, they utilize our energy, and just like in the Matrix movie, they want to turn us into that.
That's what we are. We are batteries. We are batteries.
And they use that, and they utilize that. And
yep.
And one variable, like I said, is they use our energy to help create certain outcomes that they wish to bring in through fruition.
Exactly.
Back to the dimensions, or Um, if the reptilians and other negative entities or beings are said to be in the fourth density or dimension or whatever, and we're in
It's
this three
density, it's frequency range is all it is.
and we're in this 3D reality, why, if it's a level, if we're just like in a video game, if it's all different levels of achievement, to try to go to, why would we want to go to the fourth? Well, why do those beings, if it's all part of evolving, why aren't the negative ones below the 3D instead of in the 4D? You know what I mean?
Essentially, this level is about as low as a physical being can get, density or frequency wise. When we speak of a density, think of frequency. Okay. And say, like, for example, the frequency of the Earth, the Schumann frequency, is around 7.31 hertz or 7.31 cycles. So it's a very low frequency. That frequency is also raising, it is also increasing. The heat of the sun is increasing. Every planet is getting warmer. All the things are happening for a reason and in unison. And it's not all attributable to humanity and to global warming and all that kind of stuff. There's a whole lot of things that are driving that. Mother Earth or Gaia or Terra is a living being, and she responds to how we treat her. Okay. I don't know too many people that stop for one moment during the day and actually thank the earth for anything or think of the earth as a beautiful home and a living being. They think of it as a mud ball, and we're here and we can kick the dirt around and do any damn thing we please to it, and it isn't going to care. Everything we do to it hurts it or helps it. It depends on what we're doing. So, it's a matter of where we choose to be in our thought patterns, our thought processes. We are driving this whole thing. Humanity and the rest of us, as far as myself or ETs or my family or others that are here, we're watching. We're watching intently because this is a very tumultuous time for humanity. This is a growing pain. And a lot of beings are here now watching this change, this ascension. Will they make it? Will they won't make it? I mean, there's a lot of probable futures. But the funny thing about futures is that emotions and frequency and humanity has a way of affecting that. There's nothing cast in stone. No future is cast. No future that can't be changed. So it's all up to the beings here, how we deal with it. Okay. So the whole thing, the best way to change it that I see, or the way to raise humanity's frequency, is for people to become aware. It's one thing if you have a problem. It's another thing to know what the problem is and how to deal with the problem. It's like having a cold. You got a cold and it's bad and it lowers your frequency, but nobody knows how to treat the cold. So we think of it as, well, it's untreatable. We're going to be sick for a couple of weeks, and we settle into being sick for a couple of weeks. So we've got to wake up, and you've got to inform your neighbor, and that neighbor's got to inform another neighbor and this person and that family. And this is what's really happening. This is how we can get our way out of it. Start thinking about things in a more positive approach, more positive light. Look at daily challenges or things as not so much as problems, but challenges to help us to grow in certain directions. And the universe is notorious. If you're sitting on your butt and you're not doing something right, it will generate certain conditions that will move you. Okay. So it's all up to how we want to deal with that. And, oh, I hate my job, but I'm comfortable. I don't want to move. Well, the next thing you know, you're getting downsized or fired or whatever. And you go, oh, geez, that's horrible. This is awful. And all. But a lot of times that will lead to a better thing to happen. So we have to look at the opportunities as they're presented. But all of it simply comes from making each other aware of the problem. You're aware of a problem. I'm certainly aware of the problem. How many other people can we look at it within our own lives even that are not aware of the problem? They just live. They exist.
I think a lot of people are aware of it. I don't know if you can see it, but right there's the matrix poster. It's one of my favorite
Hmm.
movies, and of course, got the X Files and the movie,
Right, I want to believe, absolutely.
and the movie They Live, which is another one of my favorites. But with the Matrix, it's that movie is powerful. If you just see what, especially the first one, I like them all though, with what they're saying and with what you just said. It made me think of the Matrix. I think more people are aware, but it doesn't matter if they're aware or if they know what the problem is. It's because they're that guy. I forgot his name, that he's making the deal with agent Smith.
Smiths, all the
Smith.
Smiths.
And it's like, I know the stake isn't real. I know it's just a product of my imagination, my electrical signals or whatever.
Yep, yep.
But damn, it tastes good. And
Right.
ignorance is bliss or whatever like that, you know.